Alright, so I'm just your stupid dog. And I've been doing these Florida takes that the man related to me from the time he was in the funny farm. He was trying to beat a murder rap. It was more of a homicide thing, but anyways. So the man, he was in one flew over the cuckoo's nest situation, trying to sit out his time, before going to trial and all this and all that. So he was hanging out, and just so it turns out that there was these two dudes playing chess. One took the white part, one took the black part, and actually they introduced themselves to the man. They're all standing there in their bathrobes and their pajamas because they're in the nut house. One guy says, "I'm white Jesus." The other guy says, "I'm black Jesus." Well, anyways, the man spent a lot of time with white Jesus and black Jesus. They go out to different kind of functions. They sit in circles and they bemoan their plights, and they go through a lot of sessions together, just like they did in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? So anyways, they're down at the Jersey Shore and outing. And black Jesus and white Jesus, they're always getting on each other's nerves. Well, the guy who's in charge, he says, "Let's go on down and we'll stand there, stand near the ocean. We'll put our feet in the water." And all the nuts and the freaks and the crazies were like, "Fantastic, man. I want to put my feet in that cold Jersey Shore ocean water. I want to step on a bunch of beer tabs and hypodermic needles and squish my feet through the sand, my toes in the sand," you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so they get down there near the edge. And lo and behold, some of the guys, they're like, "Hey, God bless, well, let's take a swim." And they start stripping off their bathrobes and this, that, and the other thing. And Jesus and white Jesus and black Jesus were standing close together. They take off their robes. First off, gosh, white Jesus looked a little bit like Jim Morrison. White Jesus was very, very pale, like he was going to literally melt like the witch in the Wicked West of the North, or whatever it was in the Wizard of Oz. His ribs were sticking out like I said, like Jim Morrison. He looked anorexic over here. And the black Jesus, he takes his robe off, and a bunch of shit falls out of his belly button. He had this great big giant itty belly button. His robe must have been holding the shit in there. It looks like a bird nest fell out of his belly button. Looks like there was a stick or a banana sticking out of his belly button. It looks like there was a whack-a-mole living in there that was just praying for somebody to put him out of his misery, okay? This guy's belly button was grotesque. Anyways, they start kind of wading in after some time, and black Jesus and white Jesus, they're kind of arguing about some crap or whatever, and there's a whole bunch of people down there, and it's kind of a cold day, the water's kind of cold, so they're going in just so far enough to their waist so they could pee. Men, women, kids, everybody, they're going into their balls, their genitalia, they're relieving themselves of the urine, and they're coming back up to the towel on the sand. Well, black Jesus and white Jesus, they're working their way in, and all of a sudden, white Jesus, he's just kind of drifting in his own thoughts, but black Jesus, he's kind of angling over towards this Oriental girl, this hot, stunning, beautiful, could have been half black, half whatever. She looks like an Oriental girl. You shouldn't even say Oriental. I know I'm a stupid dog. Like maybe an Asian, maybe an Asian American, a mixed racial girl that had a lot of that beautiful thing in it with the beautiful dark hair and the gorgeous eyes and the whole thing that's a little bit different than we see all the time over here. You know what I'm saying? A little bit, whatever, makes it more snazzy. Anyways, black Jesus and white Jesus, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "Hey, get away from that girl. That poor girl, she's like a 22-year-old hot-looking college girl, probably from whatever." You know what I'm saying? Maybe she was from Rutgers. Anyways. Black Jesus is like, whatever. He starts blowing off white Jesus. White Jesus, "Hey, what are you doing, And black Jesus kind of goes back over because he's like, "I didn't want to say it's too loud, but I mean, I'm trying to pick out whose pee I'm going to stand in when I get out there and pee myself." And white Jesus was aghast. He's like, "What do you mean you're going to go out there and pee? That's disgusting." And black Jesus looked at him and said, "Every single motherfucker out here in this surf right now, they're getting out so far, they're standing there for a couple minutes, then they're walking back in. What do you think they're doing over here? Their balls are shrinking and everything, but they're still, they're relieving themselves, bud. Maybe you should get a..." And white Jesus said, no, that's not..." And then white Jesus started looking around, and he realized that black Jesus was trying to leave these big, burly, white, barrel-chested, hairy Canadians that were down from Canada visiting and doing a Jersey Shore thing. And maybe it was too cold up there in Quebec, so they come down to, Jersey Shore. And white Jesus was like, he found himself gravitating to go stand in the urine peace zone of the big, burly white Canadians. And Black Jesus give him a dirty look, like, yeah, see what you're doing? And so then they they went their separate ways, but they kind of came back again to argue. They couldn't get past their knees. I thought Black Jesus was going to pee his pants, and White Jesus was going to have to do a miracle to clean it up over here. Anyways, so, Black Jesus and White Jesus, they're having this argument, and Black Jesus is saying, listen, if there was some black people out there, of course I would want to go out there and stand around the black people peeing, but since there's not that whole black thing going, this is the closest thing. I sure don't want to go over there at them freaking Canadians. And White Jesus is like, I can't believe you would even say such a thing. That's so, I don't even know, so racially conscious. I didn't know you were so racially conscious. Meanwhile, White Jesus, he keeps creeping over towards the Canadians, and he gets out there so far and he pees among the Canadians, you know what I'm saying? Black Jesus, by the time he was going to get ready to go take a pee, the girl had already gone back up to her towel, and he had to go stand over there way by himself, all segregated, and have a pee. Whatever. It's a brutal thing, but what do you guys say? Let me act stupid dog. Don't worry about it.